Riff, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you so much. I was born in the 80s. I grew up with Western music. I heard also Radiohead. I was in front of MTV.
Were mum and dad listening to a lot of different kinds of music?
Yes, Egyptian Arabic classic music and Wagner German classical music.
You mentioned you've got 2 children. How has that affected your relationship with music since you've had kids?
I started to like funk and Mozart.
Do you generally produce on your own and write on your own?
Most of the songs I write and compose, but when I do a co-work, for me it's amazing. My mom, for example, she writes a lot of the lyrics in French. We can make like 7 songs like this, you know?
Riff, how are you doing?
I'm great, thank you so much.
You just got in from Tel Aviv?
Yes, directly from Tel Aviv.
And you're playing one of the stages tonight.
Yes.
Do you know which particular stage you're playing?
I don't remember the name, sorry. There are so many stages here, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a bit manic, but it'll be brilliant. I mean, this is like the second night. Last night was fantastic. It was, we're on the sort of rap stage now, and a friend of mine was playing here, Kelvin Colt, and it was absolutely amazing. So, I mean, we'll try and get through a little bit of who you are and what makes you tick, and sort of moving forward into your life. But you grew up in Tel Aviv, is that true?
Yes, I even was born in Tel Aviv.
And you sort of learned music there, and you studied there, or how did that work?
Yes, so actually I started very young, 4 years old, the piano, but at the same time I danced, and I remember I was very attracted to the piano, but I was a hyperactive girl, so my parents immediately understood that they were going to put me on an art school. So for 9 years, I was since I was 6 years old, I was in an art school, but in a theater department.
Okay.
And we had a developing voice, and we had like acrobat and movement, and we had a lot of things actually for the stage.
Okay.
So it gave me a lot, but then in high school I decided to be in the music department, because actually I had a big repertoire. Since I'm 8 years old, I write and compose my songs. And then I wanted to be more in the music world. And then I learned musicology in the university. So I started to analyze all the words and the philosophy behind the music, and all the music we hear here, and the music we had in the past, and the East music and the West music. And I really had a big knowledge and around all this world. And I discovered, for me it was a huge discovering, and a huge willing to compose different kind of music, because in the Mediterranean it's really interesting situation for us, because I grew up with Western music. Like I heard also Radiohead, I heard Björk, I was in front of MTV. I was born in the 80s, early 80s, so I grew up in front of the MTV and the video clips. So then I understood I also developed a visual point of view of the music. So when I hear a song, I see already the visual.
You see the images.
Today we don't have this. We don't have the MTV. We hear in the streaming, we hear music, but not necessarily directly from a video clip.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Sorry. Hey, guys, over there, can you keep it down, please? Keep the voices down, talking away. Thanks. Need to quieten it down a bit. So you see things very visually, basically. That's kind of, I'm the same actually as a producer, as a music producer. I see things in pictures. So I think even if you don't have MTV, you still see it in your head. You know, you can see those images in your head. So I kind of understood that. But so you had, obviously, were mum and dad listening to a lot of different kinds of music?
Yes, actually I had a huge library in the salon. It was like Kulthum, Egyptian Arabic classic music, and Wagner German classical music in the same place. And I think it was very vast repertoire to grow up with.
So your mum was from, where was she originally from?
So she was born in Algeria, actually. But they ran away from Algeria in 1963.
Was it a war, was it?
Yeah, it was a French-Algerian war, and the Algerian actually won, and all the French people and also the Jewish people between the French people run away to France. And that's why we don't have a lot of Algerian people in Israel, because this period they had the French passport, they run away to France. So I have half family from Algeria that are actually French. I'm also French, and I grew up in Tel Aviv. My mom just made another aliyah to Israel, and she was very young, and she spoke with me in French. So, but I was not the only person in Israel to have different languages and different culture. You know, any friend that I had, his house was completely different culture.
Wow, and your dad was from Tunisia,
Yes. Yeah, Tunisia, from Djerba. It's a little island that most of the people there are Cohen, like my name. And actually they are there since the first temple in Jerusalem, because all the Cohen people who take care of the temple run away. And they run away to this island and Djerba, and they are there since 2,700 years.
Wow.
And there is also a very old synagogue since then. I visited for the first time 1 month ago.
Amazing.
It was a very emotional experience, and because I saw also the grave of my family around this synagogue.
Wow.
So actually I understood that I have a huge racine, a huge genetical memory from this place. Yes.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you think, because of that background, your mum, did your mum and dad meet there?
They met in Israel, in Bat Yam.
Oh, okay.
On the beach.
So with that kind of heritage, do you think it makes you feel a little bit like an outsider, do you think, at times? Or is that fair to say?
I think everyone is outsider in a way, you know. It depends where you are, but actually to be...
Or a rebel even?
I don't know. It's interesting people in Israel. I think it's a lot of mixes between cultures. But maybe I'm outsider. I don't know where. For sure, I'm outsider.
I mean, I've been kind of sort of looking into this recently about sort of all of us from our past, and I'm Irish, and you know, sort of even talking to friends here in the Czech Republic about trauma in sort of, you know, in Ireland we had the trauma of the Catholic Church and the power it had, and the British kind of running the country for 800 years, and here obviously they had the Russians and, you know, had the Germans before that, you know, during the war. And obviously, you know, the Jewish nation has had its issues with different parties over the centuries.
Of course, I think my generation, we are doing a lot of psychological therapy. And of course, our racines are exiled from different places, a lot of traumatic stories and economical hard stories. And people really started from zero their life in a new country. And not only, of course, in Israel, also in France or different places. So it's very traumatic places, actually. But I think that my generation started to develop a new lifestyle.
So when you were a kid, where you were in a band, or was it just you? When you were kind of discovering yourself as a musician, was it just you on your own? I'm just trying to figure out what kind of setup you had. Did you have a little home recording setup? Or were you just writing songs on the guitar and going to studios? Were you working with a band? How did that work out?
Okay, actually, it started, I think, with the piano. I was really connected to the piano. I think even psychologically, it was my way to run away and the way to express myself. Actually, I have a family. Of course, my dad is a bit post-traumatic person, so we cannot really communicate. And I think that this fact made me express myself into the music. Like melody comes out and it's much higher than words sometimes. And I just had this system to create all the time. I was in my house, I recorded on a cassette. I had a tape of cassette and I recorded melodies all the time. But then I felt it's not the all the way of expression. Like I started to do GarageBand on the computer, and then I actually produced the first album because it was like a rock, like a guitar, bass guitar and drums, and I made my demos on the GarageBand.
Wow.
I could hear, I can make like different vocals and make harmonies. And that's the way I started like the producing. But I saw that every time I learned like a program of producing, it changed to another program, you know?
Sure.
And it's pissed me off because I felt that I learned so much, I put so much energy to learn something, and then it's already old. And you need to change the program or to update or to learn more and more and more. And I understood there is two kinds of people. There is the technical people who really into it and will learn very fast everything that change with the time. And there are people like me that actually, like, I'm a director. I feel like a director, and I have all the time a technician with me who actually understand my world and my words. And it was not easy to find these kind of people. But today, I think, especially when I already made the first album, second, third, I think people can understand my
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of had an idea that might have been the case, like it was either Logic or GarageBand for anyone out there who dabbles in music technology. But I love the kind of innocence of that first record. It's kind of raw and it's kind of, you know, garage band, garage sound. It sounded like garage rock nearly. So I love that kind of nearly punk element to it. And the guitars are a little funky at times, but in a good way, that distorted, fuzzy guitar you're using. But I did hear I could hear the ethnic influences, like even a little while ago, I was listening to Desert Blues. You know, it's this sort of in the Sahara. I think there's what do they call it?
Tinariwen.
Yeah, what is it?
Tinariwen.
Yeah.
The
Tuareg, is it? Is that what they're called? The Tuareg people?
Tuareg, yeah, it's the Berber people from Mauritania.
Yeah.
Mauritania.
So did you ever listen to that music?
Of course, I know this music.
Because that's what your guitar sounded like to me. You know, like,
yes.
I bet she's been listening to those guys.
So actually what happened there, it's that the people who usually play the gimbri, okay, it's the Gnawa music. They have like a bass guitar, gimbri with 3 chords. And the way they played on it and also the clap on it,
right.
They actually took the guitar from the 70s, like Jimi Hendrix guitar, with the same sounds, the same distortion, same... And they play the same way they play on the gimbri, but in this kind of a guitar from the 70s. And this is the sound, actually. That's how you create a new sound.
Yeah, it's like a psychedelic rock sound, really. Like, well, Jimi Hendrix was psychedelic rock.
It's true. I had a lot of influence from also this group and this music and Sudanese music. And I actually did a lot of analyze of what's going on in the world that is not necessarily the Occidental classic world, like the chords or how to see music differently, how to have your groove differently. Like at Paris,
scales.
for example, the rhythm is Khaliji. Khaliji, it's a Yemenite groove rhythm, but it's also the same as North Egyptian from Sinai of Bedouin groove. If you're doing research, I'm sure there is connection of the people. If we have the same rhythm, also Mexico and Morocco, they have also like the same rhythms.
The same scales as well.
Yeah, and when you see the history, for example, cumbia, it's like Indians harmony that play on the accordion because something happened there. I know there is a story. And then you have the rhythm of the Moroccan music. So the cumbia is this kind of a mix between cultures. And okay, à Paris, for example, the first song that got out on the first album, it's a mix of this Yemenite rhythm that it's very hard to play. I know it sounds simple, but when you try to play it, it's like so complicated. And there is the guitar like the reggae, like the ska.
Yeah, the skank kind of thing, yeah. I call it the skank guitar, yeah.
Yeah.
Skank. Skank.
Exactly. And the bass guitar, it's the way I play the bass guitar. It's like a kid, you know. I'm not a bass player, but I like this childish interpretation sometimes. I think it's very groovy also when you play very simple, the bass.
I picked that up on the first record. The first record just has a lot of fun on it. It's like you were having the time of your life, and it was very positive and kind of fun and innocent. There was a lot of innocence on that first record, and even slightly, I don't want to say sloppy because it's not the right word, but it's you didn't care. You were just having fun, putting it down, and you could see the joy and hear the joy, should I say, in what you were doing. Because when you went on to the next record, so that record was called À Paris, was it?
À la Menthe.
And the first record was À Paris, and then À la Menthe was
À Paris, yeah. The second À la Menthe, it's like with mint, like tea with mint.
Okay.
When you say with mint, like À la Menthe.
And it was a much more slicker record for me. Like I could see, like she's learned the program now. She's probably gone on to Logic now from GarageBand, and she's learned all the synths. She's found all the new synths, and it's like, so she's going to start using. So you're just having fun finding new sounds, and you're finding new technology to kind of work with. But it was kind of, it did take you more into a more kind of sophisticated sound, I think, going into the second record. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's right, but I think it's more right on the third album, because the third is really the first time I did completely electronic music. Mm-hmm. I was just after my second pregnancy birth, and I was very tired, and I wanted...
Why were you tired? What's the big deal?
You don't sleep at night, actually. And I was so tired, and I wanted to help, you know, and to do a fast album, but actually it was even worse, because you have so much option when you are in front of the computer. It's endless. So actually it took me the same time it take me to make music with a band. So this is the electronical experience that I had. But now I'm going to get out the fourth album, but it's not ready yet. I'm in the end, really on the master now.
Brilliant.
But this is 6 musicians and completely live. This is after a COVID period that we played 20 people on the saloon. It was like rebel, because all this period before it was very hip hop style, you know, and people made two or three people maximum, because this was the situation.
Sure.
And I said, oh, it's so like me and the computer. Okay, I fitted to the situation, but now the new project, we are 6 musicians.
What's the lineup? What musicians are you using?
Like Arab instruments. We have qanun, we have saz, we have oud, we have violin, we have synthesizer, but chord tunes, like Arab music. We have the rik and bandir and darbuka.
Because I worked a lot with Baba Mal. Do you know Baba Mal from Senegal? He's an amazing musician using Urdus and all kinds of exotic instruments. It's just that beautiful kind of soaring sound, which I think you did on the third record, a lot more soaring notes than on the first one, where, I mean, there was parts of the first record that kind of, you'll probably laugh when I say this, that reminded me a little bit of Brigitte Bardot. Do you remember this stuff that she used to do in the 60s?
Yeah.
It's like with that guitar, and, you know, it was a lot of fun, and it was uplifting and positive. Whereas towards the third record, you're getting more like Björk, and, you know, getting a little bit like even that English artist called FKA Twigs. I don't know if you've heard of her, have you? Yeah. So it's that very kind of sophisticated templates of sound and synths, and so now you're moved sort of away from that and going to using live musicians. So is there any programming on the new record, or is it just all live?
Of course, you record on not Ableton, but it was like the Pro Tools. So we record on it, and I don't have a choice, you know. I thought about doing like one-shot recordings, but it's too complicated. So I did it like I wanted to edit the music and etc. So I did it on the computer.
Yeah, it's lucky we're not epileptic here, because this is flashing going on. I should be having an epileptic fit by this point. It's like this light keeps flashing at me. But anyway, if I start sort of having a fit, you'll kind of know what's happening. This is rock and roll, I suppose. We have to roll with these things, and sometimes I'm not the most patient person in the world, I have to say. Get a bit cranky in my old age. But okay, trying to get back on track with this. You mentioned you've got 2 children, so how has that affected your relationship with music since you've had kids?
Wow, very interesting question. I have few answers. First of all, I started to like funk since I have children, and Mozart.
Wow.
Of course, I'm talking about the piano sonatas of Mozart. For me, it was very boring before. I needed the action in the music. I need the cut. I need something to happen, you know? And
the drama.
Drama. Mm. But since I remember I had a drive with the babies, 2 babies, it's very hard. I was alone with them, and I was in such a stress. And I heard Sonata of Mozart. And Sonata of Mozart, it was like a flower. That the story, it's like it opens more and more and more and more. There is no drama, nothing surprises, nothing. And I said, thank you so much for this song, because it was what I needed, you know, to be calm and to see this beauty and without a drama, you know, this what I wished for. And
to get the baby to sleep.
Yes, so I found something new about me and my choices, like, and the wishes. And also, I remember it was so hard. It's like 2 kids in 1 year and 1 day between them.
Oh, wow, okay.
It's worse than twins. And I remember that I decided to stop work for a while. And I stopped. But actually, every situation, I had a melody on my mind, and I just recorded on the iPhone while I was with the kids all the time, and I sang for them new songs, and I composed all the time new things. But while living with them, I had a lot of inspiration, actually, from this. And it changed my life, to tell you the truth, to see things, to care about someone so much with the little details. You become so much, so sensitive, you know, and you see everything differently suddenly.
What were you listening to when you were pregnant? What kind of music? Because, you know, they often say sometimes, like, the music that a lot of people listen to classical music when they're pregnant as well, and like the children even afterwards sometimes like classical music, or, you know, they pick it up even inside your body.
So all my life I have periods of things that I hear, so I don't really remember. It was like 7 years ago, but I know that while birth I put Yiddish music, like Ashkenazi. I'm not Ashkenazi at all, but there is a Ashkenazi rabbi, and the records are from the 30s, like terrible records, but I like the melodies. So I remember I had it in the hospital with me.
So have you been listening to contemporary music, to pop music, or is that a part of your life too? I mean, you've obviously listened to a lot of ethnic music, but what about popular music?
So of course, I think that the modern music knows how to get inside your vein, your blood, your bones. It's like a new technique, you know, that in the recordings of the past, we didn't have this. You hear sometimes like melody or harmony that gets inside you, or a rhythm that you like, but the new production, it's really affects your body. So sometimes I felt that the modern music know how to make you dance much better than the production in the past. So I want it. I want to use it. So I use the new technology to have the sub, to have the bass in the place. But for example, you know, today when I did a research about the Arab music, for example, the bass is very little and it's behind the darbuka, behind the rhythms. And it makes you dance also, you know. The harmony synthesizer is very strong on the top. So I don't really suddenly need the bass. So this is a research and things that I learned from this classic music. And the new album, I did totally different production that I used to do. Yes. And the bass, it's the bandir, the bass from the bandir. This is what makes you dance, actually, in this kind of music.
And sort of, do you write on your own or do you write with other people? I mean, I've looked at your writing credits of stuff you've done. So mainly I've seen your name with the odd other person coming up. And also you've done most of your own production. Do you generally produce on your own and write on your own?
So I can write and compose, and most of the songs I write and compose. But when I do a co-work, for me it's amazing. Sometimes I can, if I'm with my mom, for example, she writes a lot of the lyrics in French. We can make like 7 songs like this, you
amazing.
know. So when I work with someone, it's much more productive, productive. How to say? I feel it gets out from me different things. It's like an exchange that is interesting for both of us. So I'm really into, I discover myself sometimes when I in front of someone. So I like to make collaboration. So I'm open to this.
I mean, working with your mum, I mean, that must be fun for your mum, though. I mean, sort of...
Really, yeah. For her, also she wrote for her. You say the tiroir. How to say the tiroir? When you open the you have a table and you have something.
Drawer.
The drawer. Mm-hmm. So she wrote for herself. She was a painter and a yoga teacher. But since I took her lyrics, because actually I made a project with the composition, Arab compositions. And when I say Arab, it's very general. There is Maghreb, Berber, a lot of kind of music, Persian, Turkish, Greek, there is so many. But it's a general name. But anyway, when I had this music, I said, okay, Hebrew get not into this composition because the Hebrew language, it's like how to say, carré.
It's symmetrical. I don't know.
No, there is round, for example, and there is this
square.
Squares. It's like squares. If I talk Hebrew, and also the letters, they look like squares in different variations. And it's true that the sound don't fit the Western music. So, and also the Arab music, it was like more round music and warm, and the Hebrew don't really fit into it, and also the English was not. But when I thought about French, I said, oh my God, this is the thing. And I tried the lyric of my mom, and for me it was like a miracle, because actually it's the hardest way to make a song, when you have the composition already and you need to fit words into it. You have, when you have the text already written, and the music already composed. And suddenly it fits exactly. The biggest song, like À Paris, J'aime, Sur le Macadam, Dans mon quartier, a lot of songs like this. Je cours.
So your mum wrote those lyrics?
Yes.
It's amazing.
And suddenly, and now she became like an expert. And it's her new job, you know. She do it also for different musicians.
Oh, that's amazing. So you've given her a whole new career.
Yeah.
And what are the lyrics generally about? What's her narrative?
Okay, my mom, because she's an amazing person and very holistic and like a yoga teacher,
Brilliant.
she's very positive, and also she has a huge knowledge, and she put it in a very funny way, you know, like a very high philosophy, but in a stupid way and funny way.
Right.
And she can talk to little kids, but in the same way for old people. And she's amazing. I think this is really fit to have a hit and global song, universal song. Mm-hmm. My lyrics are more private and dramatic and like fire, and this is more my style. And we actually balanced each other.
Yeah, you're the sober yin. No, she's the sober yin to your raging yang.
Yeah. And so I have my lyrics. You can totally simply know which kind. It's my lyrics and my mom's lyrics. Yeah.
And sort of, is that going to continue on, do you think, on the new record? Has she done the same? Or?
The new record, it's a new story. It will come up soon. Actually, I divorced also after the 2 kids. And it's a personal story because after the divorce, I wrote like 20 songs about separation generally, and about this hard period when everything become totally chaos and anarchist lifestyle, you know. And all the things I had on my mind totally changed, and it was a huge shock for me. And the way to build yourself from the beginning was these songs. Actually, it's 8 songs about 8 from the 20 songs. Yeah, it's 8 songs about the separation, like to have a good friend, to be alone in your house, to understand that you worth more. To every song there is a
message.
A message. The end of the album, it's like in Arab, it's il est fait mat, il sar il est fait mat. What happened dies. It's in the past. You know, it's no longer my story. And after it, there is a song about dates, about going out again with people. Very funny song that it's called "Pay for Me." Because on dates there is the issue who pay for who and what we are doing and the codes, you know.
Oh, come on, the man always pays the first time, always. Come on. I mean, run to the hills if he doesn't, you know. If you go on a date with a guy and he doesn't pay, especially on the first few, you got to get rid of him immediately. He's got to go.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned, but you know,
no,
the guy.
This is the song about. It's very funny and it's in Hebrew, so we laugh a lot about it. But actually, it's a very funny song.
And you haven't really done any songs in English.
I have Pink Sun in the 3rd album, and I have You Understand Me also. It's also a song about the sadness of the situation that we don't understand each other in a relationship.
Sure.
And the high feeling when you feel that someone understands you, and it's a nice song. You Understand Me from the 3rd album.
But obviously, if you did more in English, it's on a commercial level, it's a much broader reach. You know, by singing in French or in Hebrew or in Arabic, it's kind of you are limiting the amount of, you know, people you can get to. So, have you thought about that, or is it just not a concern to you? You're just going to. I mean, I know that's the whole business side of it and career side of it. What's your feeling on that?
Actually, I never thought about this. It's interesting because, of course, I'm living in different reality where I talk Hebrew or French or like I see the whole world in different languages. So for me, English, it's not necessarily the center of the world, but it's true that it can help a lot. But I think that in music, it's more important is the music and what you have to say generally. Like I hear Brazilian music and I just make play and I'm in another world, you know? It affects me even if I don't understand the lyrics. So I think this is more the goal, is to bring things from other worlds, you know?
Right. So you think you'd be up for doing more collaborations moving into the future, do you think, maybe? Collaborating with different musicians and other singers and...
Yes, I can make it and I'm open for it, but...
Because it's kind of what's happening now with a lot of artists in contemporary music. There's a lot of collaborations go on. Yeah, and I think it's personally great. I mean, even on the writing side, where people are writing with a lot of different people, because you can kind of get caught up in your own echo chamber. You know what I mean? Where sometimes it's nice to have another perspective on things. You know what I mean? So it's kind of nice to bring fresh ears and fresh kind of.
Yes, I made with Enrico Macias, for example, a song, but it was in French, of course. And Goran Bregovic, I made a song. I think it was in English. No, it was in Hebrew. With his orchestra. And that's it. I can continue to make some collaborations. But anyway, I'm just doing what gets out from my belly, you know, and sometimes it's like, oh my God, Turkish people really like this music, and it can be even in Hebrew. I cannot really know, I can never know what's going to work or not, because it's even surprising me, you know.
And you've been doing acting as well. You're an actress. I mean, do you enjoy that process, making films?
Actually, I don't do it for a long time. I did it when I was younger because it was actually great money. While you're doing in the beginning music, you don't really get money. So it was amazing for me in the beginning. But now it's like, if it's not a scenario that I'm really fascinating about, or a director that I completely can trust, I'm not really into it, because it's like to be a soldier in a way, like you need to do what you are told to do. Music, I'm the director. I can create the world. And when I am actress, I would love to do it, but in something that I really like and believe in, you know?
You sound like you're a control freak.
Yes.
All the best people are. You want to direct, you want to edit, you want to do it all. No, I understand. When you come from certain kind of backgrounds, you just want to control everything, you know. It's hard to let things go. But
you know, since I had kids, I want people to direct for me video clips, to do the productions.
Delegation.
I give work to others, of course, because I don't sleep at night. Now I came back to myself. I have my power back, so
it's the secret.
I came back to control things.
Yeah, it's the secret of success. Delegate. Get other people to do that. Do all that. You know, fixing that bass drum. You don't have to sit in front of the computer for 2 hours. Just get some other, programmer to fix it. Be the broad strokes person. You have to delegate. It's only so many hours in the day. So, I mean, we're going to wrap up soon, but so you got the record coming out. When is it coming out? Have you got a date for it?
I don't have a date yet, but I think I'm going to finish the album 15 August. And then we're going to program when we're getting out exactly. And then we work all the team together, like we have bookers and a label that's going to make vinyl and stuff.
Because you're an independent artist, really, aren't you? You're not
Totally
in a major label
yes,
thing. So
I don't even have a manager. Like, I had managers, but it was not someone that I can go on for 10 years. Like, this world is changing. There is peaks and downs, and especially when you're a woman and you make kids. And then I had also a divorce that he has his own career, and I was in his work. Like, this life. But now I think when the kids became bigger, I can put more energy about it. And since the Corona, I don't have a manager. Like the Corona, I did everything by myself with someone who helped me, and we did everything, booking, like the PR. We did alone everything, and since then I'm doing the same, but with more strong people.
Well, it looks and sounds like a fantastically exciting time ahead, and you're doing it in your own time, in your own way. So I think we should wrap up now, because you've got a show to do in about an hour, and you've been amazing. I don't want to wear out your voice by talking the head off you. So Riff Cohen, thank you so much for doing the interview. It's been amazing. It's great to have you, and hopefully we'll see you at dopeYEAH, the club I was telling you about earlier on, to do a performance there at some point, because it's an amazing place, and I'd love you to see it. Maybe tomorrow, if you're around, you should come and have a look at the place. It is incredible. Thank you so much indeed.
Thank you.
Take care.